Hi there, Chrysler owners. Today in your 2017 Chrysler Pacifica, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install Curt's 4-pole flat trailer connector vehicle wiring harness.
You'll have a 4-pole connector that lives outside the vehicle here at the back. We do offer mounting brackets here at etrailer.com. Our customer didn't opt for it, but many hitches do have weld plates on them that allows you to attach it directly to a bracket here. We just use a zip tie because that's what comes included with the kit, and it'll work just fine. It keeps it up out of the way nice and neat. And if we look at the end of our connector here, we've got a dust boot that keeps out any dirt, debris, and moisture, since this does live outside the vehicle. With the cap off, you can see that it is a 4-pin connector that's going to offer you all the necessary lighting signals that you'll need, which is your left turn signal, right turn signal, tail lamps, and brake lamps. This will keep you DOT compliant in all states, and it'll also ensure that everybody behind you will know your intentions when you're going down the road. My favorite part about this harness is that it is a module protected harness, and it's custom fit for our Pacifica. The connectors will plug directly in line with your taillight assemblies, and the module will then monitor those signals, and it's its own powered circuit for the module. Then the module will use that powered circuit to produce a signal and send it to our 4-pole connector here. What's nice about the module producing those signals is that if we have any shorts or faults on our trailer, the module will detect that and then shut down that circuit. In the event that the module is unable to shut it down in time, the dedicated power circuit is fuse protected, and the fuse would just open for that circuit, and you can simply repair your trailer, replace the fuse, and you're back up and running without any damage to any of the wiring on your vehicle. Now that we've covered some of the features, why don't you follow along with me and we'll show you how to get it installed. It is a little bit tricky on your Pacifica because there's some tight clearances we got to get through, but it's overall pretty simple.
We'll begin our installation by removing both the driver's side and passenger side taillight assemblies. To do that, we're going to use a T27 torque socket to remove the 2 bolts that hold the assembly in. And then the assembly is just going to go straight rearward. I highly recommend a trim panel tool to assist you with going rearward on it. They'll just help you get the leverage you need without damaging anything. And once you've got it pulled back, right here we have a release tab. We need to remove the lock first, so just press the red part away, and then we can press in on the tab there and disconnect it. We'll then do the same thing over on the passenger side. Now that we've got both assemblies removed, we're going to use some fish wire and feed it down on each side. We're going to be using some airline tubing, but a coat hanger, a metal coat hanger, works really well as well if you don't have airline tubing at home. We just want something that's going to be flexible enough that we can maneuver it down, but needs to be stiff enough that we can force it down. And if you've only got one, you want to start on the driver's side first. We've got 2 pieces here, so we're going to be feeding down both the driver and passenger side, because we're going to be going down below, and it's nice to have these already fed down there just to make things go a little quicker. And our fish wire is going to pass through down here, so we're just going to pull it down just enough to where we can access it down here and still access it up at the top. We're then going to repeat this over on the other side, but if we take a quick look over there on that side, you will see there's a panel there, so there's a couple of bolts we're going to have to remove here and here, so we can just peel this down so we can access that pull wire. So you can see the panel. I just pulled it down and just took out the bolt here and the one over here with an 8mm socket, and this just, you can just pull that flat down, then you can get your hand up in there to grab the fish wire on this side. We can now take our fish wire and our harness kit. We're going to grab the connector end that has the yellow and brown wire on it, like you see here, and we're going to tape one of the connectors to the line like this so we can use our pull wire to pull it back up behind that taillight assembly. I'm just going to use some electrical tape to attach it to the pull wire here. And then we're just going to feed it back up. Sometimes you have to kind of assist it getting started when you're pulling it up. And then as you're pulling it up, you are going to have to kind of wiggle it around to get it to pass by everything. But eventually it will come up here, and then we can just go ahead and disconnect it from our fish line, and we're going to connect it right in line with our factory harness here. Once removed from your fish wire, you'll plug in the male end here into the female end there. They'll plug together, and then we can go ahead and just kind of
poke that excess down in there. This is going to plug back into our taillight assembly, but we're not going to put that assembly back in just yet. Over on the passenger side, we're going to basically do the same thing, except we're going to be using the harness with the connectors that has a green wire on it that you see here. And this one's going to be significantly longer than the one with the yellow wire that we did on the driver's side, because it has to be routed across to this side and then fed up. So you can see we've got this one here. I'm going to go ahead and lift it up now, and we'll show you underneath how we routed it across. And we just routed it right above this undershield, just staying above the undershield. We'll zip tie it all up once we're all done. Over here though, once you get over to the passenger side, I do recommend that you poke the green wire up over the bumper beam right here. That way it can't fall down and hit on our exhaust and melt the wire. We're now back at our module, and we got a couple more wires we need to do connections on here. We have our black and our white wire. White wire is ground and our black wire is our power wire. You'll get a bunch of extra black wire in your kit because we're going to have to run this power wire up to the engine compartment to connect to our battery. So we're going to go ahead and make that connection now, so you can strip back your black power wire here. And once you've got it stripped back, we're just going to connect this extra black wire to the black wire off of our module. You do get butt connectors in your kit, but I highly recommend upgrading to heat shrink butt connectors like this one here, because this will ensure when it's outside the vehicle that it's going to be sealed up so moisture cannot enter. We're just going to crimp it onto our excess wire here. And then we will also crimp it onto the module. Once we've got those crimped together, we'll shrink it down with our heat gun. We can now take the included self-tapping screw and our white wire that has a ring terminal pre-attached to it, slide the screw through the ring terminal, and then we're just going to run it right into the metal here next to our hitch. Then just make sure your wire is secure, and if it is, then we can go ahead and get our module mounted up. We're then going to secure our module, and we're just going to secure it right here to the back side of the bumper beam. I've put some alcohol on a rag, and we're just going to wipe this area clean. This will ensure we get good adhesion. We can then just take our module and put it up in the area that we had cleaned and secure it in place. And I like to hold it there for about 20 to 25 seconds to ensure good adhesion. At this point, we can route our power wire up to the front of the vehicle. When routing your power wire, you want to make sure you avoid any moving objects, such as your steering and your suspension, and anything excessively hot, such as your exhaust. I'm going to go ahead and route the wire now, and then I'll show you the path I took to get it there. From here, we took our black wire and we routed it down the side of our hitch. We go all the way back until it comes out on the other side of our paneling. You can easily reach your hand here to the back side and grab the wire as you're poking it through. Once it comes out, you can see it right here. We go above our rear suspension components, and straight up here you'll see there's a wire right here. We zip tie it to this wire to keep it away from our suspension components. From there, right here, we continue going forward. We stay on top of our undershield here, running next to the fuel tank, and just stay on top of that shield. Once we got up to this shield, I did take out the nuts on the studs here, just so I could pull this piece down and tuck that wire in all the way up here to the front to where it comes out just on the other side of the paneling here. It is kind of difficult to see here because it is on the inside of the frame, but it does go up into the engine compartment along the inside of our frame up there. We used our fish wire pull trick, just like we did at the back, to get the wire run up. And here you can see the wire running up the frame. And our pull wire had come down just down through here, and you can easily feed that through from up top to get it down here and then pull your wire back up. Got the wire pulled up. I did zip tie it to the big loom going across here, so that way it holds it in place and it can't drop down and get out of position. Our battery positive's right here, but we've got this panel in the way. This panel just pulls right up. There's a tab on this side, and there's also a tab on this side. Just pull those up, and then the whole assembly will just slide right out of there. We can then access our battery positive here. We're going to go ahead and attach our fuse harness to the battery post here, and we can connect it really to any one of these. I'm going to put it to this one right here in the middle.
So we're going to take our fuse harness and strip back. It is pre-stripped there some, so we can just use that pre-strip right there. And we're going to crimp on a butt connector. We are upgrading once again to the heat shrink butt connector since it's outside the vehicle. And then we're going to strip back the other end now. And this one is also pre-stripped, you can see there. And on this one we're going to be putting a ring terminal. And this is what's going to connect to our battery. And on the ring terminal one, it's a little hard to see in there, so it's not a bad idea to strip a little bit of extra off just to ensure that you're not crimping it on the sheathing, you are crimping it on the wire, or else you won't have a very good connection. And then we can be sure that we can see it and we know that it's going all the way through. Now that we've got it attached there, we can go ahead and remove the nut here. We're just going to slide that right off of there. Grab your harness, because as soon as we take the nut off, we're going to slide it on and then just reinstall the nut. Now we can trim off the black wire right here. We don't need all this excess, so I'm just going to bring it down to about here. This way we can zip tie it up to the spot down here. So that's a good amount of excess. Just a little bit just for future repairs or adding additional accessories if we need to. So we're just going to trim that off of there. We're going to strip back the black wire. And then we're going to attach it to the other end of that heat shrink butt connector. We'll then once again use our heat gun to shrink down that butt connector. Now that we've got it connected here, we can insert our fuse to complete the connection. And at this point we can test our wiring out. So I'm just going to tuck this down here. I like to wait to zip tie up everything until the very end. That way, in case we need to move anything or make any changes to anything, we don't have to cut all the zip ties that came in the kit. I only like to zip tie up a few key spots just to keep things in place. Now that we've got everything completed here, we do have our taillight assemblies out in the back, so we're just going to go back there and reinstall those in reverse order of how we removed them. Your taillight assemblies we'll just reinstall in reverse order of how you removed them. Your wiring will stay tucked behind your assembly when you go to slide it back into place. Just got to kind of hold it over in the right spot, so it can be a little tricky getting everything to line up the way it needs to. Now that we've got everything plugged back together, we've gone ahead and plugged in our tester. You can plug into your trailer, but I highly recommend you use a tester just in case there was any shorts or damage to your trailer. It's not going to open up your fuse and make you think that there's something wrong with the vehicle. Our tester here is going to give us LED lights to show us if our signals are working. You want to make sure you have your left turn signal, right turn signal, tail lamps, as well as brake lamps. With everything working properly, we can finish buttoning up all of our wiring, zip tie everything up out of the way, and then we're ready to hit the road. And that completes our installation of Curt's 4-pole flat trailer connector vehicle wiring harness on our 2017 Chrysler Pacifica.